Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a Q&A. I recently shared with you all that my husband and I are moving to Austin, Texas, and as expected, I became bombarded with questions. So today I'm gonna be giving you all the A's to your Q's. All right, we're just going to jump into it. I've compiled the most frequently asked questions that I've gotten recently. Number one being, why are you moving? So there's a lot that goes into this. I think primarily the number one reason is the fact that my husband and I were ready to buy our first house. We have been renting together for 7 years, I think. We started in an apartment and then we moved to the townhouse where we are currently living, and we were ready to buy our first house. Now, we wanted a single family house, and where we currently live, houses are very, very expensive. Let's say we were trying to get like a 1,500 square foot single family house. We would have to spend like minimum $500,000, and that wouldn't even be for a new house. That would be for like an older house. So knowing that we wanted to buy a house and we could not necessarily afford a house where we are currently living, that meant we started to look at moving out of state. And that brings me to the second question, which is why Austin, Texas? Again, there are a lot of things that go into this. First and foremost, my husband and I have traveled to Austin quite a few times, and we really just fell in love with the city. I remember the first time we went, we kind of joked with each other like, yeah, I could see us living here. Yeah, I could see us living here too. And then we got home and it was like, wait, were you serious? Because I was kind of serious, like I would totally move there. So we really just loved the total like vibe of the city. It's a very different city feel than DC, but we liked it. All of my East Coast people, you know, the East Coast is very like go, 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 very fast paced. And we loved that Austin was a little bit, well, a lot bit more kind of laid back. We loved the people there. The food is amazing. Just the overall kind of experience that we had every time we went to Austin. So we knew we loved the city. Then when we started looking into affordability of what we could get for a house, we were able to afford a lot more there in comparison to the DC market. Plus, Billy and I both have only ever lived in Maryland. I grew up on Kent Island, Maryland, which is like right in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. And then obviously I moved to Salisbury, which is on the Eastern Shore. That's where Billy grew up. And then we moved to like the Crofton area, which is kind of right in between like DC, Baltimore, and Annapolis. And we both knew that we didn't want to only have lived in Maryland. Like we knew that we wanted to experience other states, and we both love to travel. And so we wanted to have just like new experiences and not only be in one place. Like I feel like that was very repetitive, but to us, that was just something that we really wanted. With Austin being the capital of Texas, there are more opportunities for political-based jobs. My husband just graduated with his master's in political science, so that was a good fit. Plus, there's just a lot of businesses in general that are relocating to that area, so there's a much bigger job market there. And then finally, why not? I mean, honestly, I've had so many people say, well, why move across the country? Why not? We don't have kids. We don't have anything tying us down to where we're currently living. And I feel like sometimes people are so scared of change and they're so scared of stepping out of their comfort zone. And I have always been one of those people. I've always been so stuck in like my routine. And I've started to realize in those small moments when I do step outside my comfort zone and I do challenge myself to try new things, I end up being so happy that I did. And so for us, being able to move across the country, move to a new state, move to a totally new city, it's exciting, it's something new, and it's like, why not try it? You know, I don't want to look back and regret only having stayed in Maryland because it's what we're familiar with and what we're comfortable with. So hopefully that makes sense. So kind of a follow-up question to that, do you have family in Austin? No. When we made the decision to move to Austin, which was about 6 months ago, I want to say January is when we really said, yep, let's move to Austin. We had been talking about it for a while, but we finally made the decision at the beginning of 2021, and we knew no one in Austin. So what's very ironic is that since then, Billy's cousin, who is about our age, has actually gotten a job in Austin and is moving to literally the same area that we will be in the same time, like middle of June. He's gonna be living in the same area. So it's really cool that we now will have a family member there, and it's just ironic how it all kind of worked out. Plus, there's a few other family members that we can see moving to that area in the near future because, for example, Billy has another cousin and his fiance is in that area. So we can see more of our family kind of relocating there, but we feel like we're the catalyst, we're the ones kind of, you know, starting it. Next question is, when are you moving? I'm currently recording this like the first week of June. Our last day of school is June 18th with students and June 21st with teachers. On that same day, the 21st, we have a pod being delivered where we are going to pack all of our things. And then we are gonna hit the road by like June 24th is kind of our plan. It's gonna take us 3 days to get there, so we should be in the house June 26th. So by the end of the month, we will be in our new house. Which brings me to the next question. How are you getting all of your things and cats to Texas? So in terms of getting all of our things, we are using the Pods service. I guess that's what it's called, right? It's ironic because originally we were thinking about just renting a truck and driving it and moving it, which we were a little apprehensive about. It wasn't our first choice. But my dad ended up finding a YouTube video where someone was talking about using the pod service to move across the country. I watched the video, I looked into it a little bit more, and I was like, yes, this is perfect. Essentially, they will deliver the pod, and we have one that is 7 feet by 7 feet by 16 feet. I think, maybe, I don't know. It was the larger size. We are planning on putting all of our stuff in there. So classroom stuff, home stuff. We've gotten rid of a lot of our furniture. We've gotten rid of a lot of our things. It should all be able to fit in the pod. They will then pick up the pod, they will transport it to Austin, and then they will deliver it to our house. That whole process takes about a week. So once we get to the house, we'll have to wait several days before our things get there. But to me, it is a much better option than having to pack everything onto a truck and driving it down there, because we also have to move the cats, which we are going to take in our cars. We thought about flying, but our cats have never flown before, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure you have to take the cats out of the carrier to go through like security, and I can just see Luna and Zora getting loose and running through the airport, and it terrifies me. So we are gonna drive them in the car. Luna was in the car a lot when I first got her, because I got her when I was in college, and I would drive home every weekend and take her with me. So she's very much accustomed to the car. Zora's been in the car a few times. It's never really been an issue, but we're gonna talk to our vet. I know they do make like sedatives that you can give the cat so they mostly sleep the whole way, but we're also gonna get like a bigger kennel, almost like a kennel made for dogs, to be able to have in the car so they have a little bit more space rather than being in a carrier the entire time, which is really small. We're also gonna pack in our cars any breakable things. So for example, all my filming equipment and things that we wanna have as soon as we get there. So we're gonna jam pack our cars, pack up the pod will get delivered, we will drive. It's a 24-hour drive. We're gonna split it into 3 like 8-hour shifts. That's the plan. We'll see if it actually works out that way, but that is the plan. Okay, that brings me to the next one, which is just packing tips. I had a lot of people ask about like general packing tips, organization. First of all, I have moved, I think I counted 7 times, literally just in the past like 10 years. So I definitely have learned a lot along the way. I think my biggest recommendation is just to start early. The last time we moved from the apartment to the townhouse, it was a lot of last minute packing because we had a lot going on and it was very stressful. This go around, I have already been packing for like a month, maybe a little bit longer, and I've really been taking my time, which has taken away a lot of the stress. My second biggest recommendation is to purge and get rid of stuff as much as possible. Billy and I actually sat down last night. We rewatched my moving vlog from when we moved here, and we were watching and we're like, we did not purge anything. Like we literally just packed everything we had and brought it with us and then tried to figure it out when we got here. But this go around, I've learned it's much better to purge and get rid of stuff before you pack it so that there's less to pack, and then it's less stressful once you actually get there and unpack. So we've been getting rid of a lot. We've been really condensing and trying to prioritize what we need versus what we don't need. And I've been keeping it as organized as possible. So I've been printing out labels. I literally just took a Google Slides, made a table that had, I think, 10 or 11 rows. And so each row is just like a thin rectangle. And I've been typing whatever it is that's going into that box or container. And I print it off, cut it out, and just tape it on there. So everything has been very organized. Let me actually show you like what I'm talking about and what it looks like. Here's what the labels look like. Literally, it's a strip of paper that I just tape onto the bins and the boxes. But you will notice the labels are all basically at the exact same spot on the bins and boxes, and I have them all facing out. So as I find little things that need to get added into the bin, I can find it, add it in, and it's super easy. And it's been nice because I literally will just print off a sheet at a time. So I'll think of like 10 labels that I need, type them up, print them off, cut them out, and then you can't see it, but back over here I have like a pile of them like right there that is still in the process of getting taped onto the bins and boxes, but progress. And then the last tip is to use as many like plastic containers as possible. And maybe this tip only works for me because I have so many plastic containers. But the reason I like using plastic containers as opposed to boxes is because as I'm going through and packing, I can put stuff in the container and go, well, there's still a little bit of room. It's fine. Let me put it over to the side. And then as I find other things and I go, oh, that needs to go in that container, I can easily take the top off, add those items, and then put the top back on. Whereas a box, I mean, I know with the box you can wait to seal it, but what I like about the containers is I can easily like stack them, and then if I need to add something, I just take it off, add to the container, put it back on. So that's what's really been working for me, but obviously you have to find a system that works for you. Have you picked out a gym yet? Yes. So Billy and I have flown to Austin, I don't know, 4 or 5 times over the past probably 4 months as part of the whole moving process and house searching and all of that. And every time we go, we would try out a different gym so we could kind of get a feel of which gym we want. There is one more gym that we want to try, but I don't think it's gonna end up being a gym that we join only because it's not as close to our house. But we have found a gym that is 5 miles from our house. It would be on Billy's way home, and it's very much like the type of gym that we like. I wanted a very powerlifting kind of centric gym, and I really like it. So I think that is going to be the gym that we go to, but one more gym to try, and then we will make that final decision. Next question, have you told your students? And then kind of going along with that, have you told your administration? How do you feel about leaving your school? I have been very upfront and honest with my administration. As soon as I knew that we were going to be moving and I would need to leave the school, I told them and I let them know. I wanna say I first let them know in like February or March, pretty early on in the process. And then I had to fill out like my formal resignation. So that has been done for a while now. In terms of telling my students, again, I've been very upfront and honest with them. Right after I informed my school, I started telling my students, you know, hey, I am gonna be moving after this year. And it really does stink because of the way this year has been. I still have some students that I have not met in person, and that's very sad, but it is what it is. And I still keep in contact with a lot of my students' families. So I know that even though I'm moving and even though I didn't get to spend time with them in person this year, I'm still gonna get to follow along with their lives, and I'm still gonna get updates from their families, and that makes me feel a lot better. So my students have known for a few months now. In terms of how I feel about leaving my school, I am very sad about it because I have loved my school, my community, my coworkers, all of that. I have loved this school, and it's very difficult to let go of that. I know that it's just part of the process, and again, I think sometimes we get so latched onto things that we're afraid to let go of them, but we have to be willing to learn and grow and evolve and move into new situations. So I know it's just part of the process, but yes, I am very sad about it. How are you moving all your classroom things? So I'm gonna be moving it with all of our stuff in the pod. I will say once again, I've been purging as much as possible and trying to consolidate, and I've been slowly taking things home from my classroom. Again, I started the process early, and every time I leave my classroom, I make sure I'm holding something and carrying it with me because I do not want to have to do it all at once. that would very much stress me out and overwhelm me. So it's been kind of a slow process, but I'm gonna be moving it just like all of my regular stuff in the pod. And that brings me to probably the most asked question. Are you going to be teaching in Austin? Let me just put it out there. I have decided not to teach in the classroom next year. And there are a lot of reasons that go into this. First and foremost, it's the timing of everything. We are moving at the end of June because Maryland, we get out pretty late. Like I said, June 21st is my last day as a teacher. By the time we get moved and then the pod gets delivered early July, and then I'm actually gonna be traveling. I have some speaking engagements. I'm presenting at the Get Your Teach On National Conference in Orlando, and that's toward the end of July. Literally, the school year in Texas starts like early August, especially for new teachers. Like that orientation time is beginning of August, and then school actually starts mid-August. Because of that, there is not a big time frame for me to be able to get recertified to teach in Texas. And just the thought of having to do that on top of moving and getting to know a new area and all of that has put my stress levels way too high. Nope. And that kind of goes into the second reason. Honestly, this past year in general has been very stressful, and it's not something that I've talked a lot about, but some of you may notice, like on Instagram, I haven't been posting a whole lot. I haven't been posting stories, and a lot of that comes down to this past year has been very, very difficult. And I feel like it's a culmination of, obviously this year has been so different, and there's a lot that goes into that in terms of like learning the technology and trying to adjust to the changes. But I also feel like it's just the culmination of the past several years. Literally, since I started teaching, I have been juggling teaching full-time with also running my own business. And with that, obviously I've learned a lot along the way. I've gotten a lot better at it, but I also keep adding things to my plate. And as a result, I feel like every year my stress level gets that much higher. And I don't think you all even realize everything that goes into it. Obviously, it's planning videos, recording videos, getting videos edited, recording podcast episodes, getting podcast episodes edited, answering emails, answering DMs, answering Facebook messages, trying to respond back to comments from people, trying to create products, trying to get products posted, trying to answer questions about products, trying to help people with products. There is so much that goes into it. And so for the past 7 years, balancing that while teaching has just been a lot. And I feel like this past year, I've really seen the stress take a different toll on me, just mentally, but even physically. Like I've started having a lot of manifestations of stress, like physically within my body, things like losing hair, having like my eye twitches when I get really stressed out. And for the past several months, it literally like multiple times a day will start twitching. And it's due to the amount of stress. And with this past year being so strange, I feel like it's really just changed my perspective on things and realizing I shouldn't be living only to work. And I love my work and I love what I do, but I also feel like I'm not fully experiencing life because I'm always so focused on I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to get this done that I'm not like enjoying those day-to-day moments, if that makes sense. And then along with that, I feel like there's so many avenues that I want to explore. I want to do more speaking and PD for teachers. I want to pursue possibly a PhD and look into teaching at the university level because I've realized how much I love to work with new teachers. So I would love to look into that. But again, there's no way I can do that on top of everything I've been doing. And there's just all of these things that I want to try and I want to see, like, can I do this? And I need the opportunity to be able to do that. And I'll be honest, I have been terrified to share this because this is a decision that I made several weeks ago and I have been really, really scared to share it with you all. And I think the number one reason I've been scared is because I'm worried that some of you are gonna be disappointed in me. And that's like one of my biggest fears, like deep psychological fears in life. I hate feeling like I disappoint people. And so thinking about you all who literally have given me the opportunities and you are the reason that I'm able to do this, because if I put up videos and no one watched, it would be pointless. Like, you all are what have given all of this to me. And so thinking about you all being disappointed in a decision like this has been like really, really stressing me out and making me very anxious. And I also think just in general on social media, there's this big kind of premise with teachers leaving the classroom, and I think it's very frowned upon and very looked down upon, and it's like, oh, well, you're no longer relevant, you're no longer in the trenches with us. But I think we need to realize as teachers, as educators, there are so many ways to be involved in education that are not directly tied to being in the classroom. And I think for me, one of the biggest things that I want to explore is I have fallen in love with helping teachers. And that's not something I foresaw, but it's something that I have absolutely fallen in love with. And so I really want to be able to explore those other options of ways that I can help and support teachers and do something else that I'm passionate about outside of just the classroom. And I think more than anything, I've realized you can't make everyone happy. You are not pizza as much as you wish you could be, or at least I wish I could be. But I've realized that no matter what decision I make, no matter what choices I make in life, there will always be people that disagree with it or people that have different opinions. And that's okay, because we don't all think the same way, and I can't expect people to. And ultimately, I have to do what's going to make me happy. I've decided that me being able to explore these ways to help and support teachers is what's making me really excited right now. I feel like over this past year, seeing how much teachers struggled and getting messages from teachers who are like, oh my goodness, you saved me this year with your tech tutorials or your this or that. That has made me so excited and so passionate, because I truly want to be able to offer that to teachers, and being able to use my experience in the classroom and knowing, you know, hey, I've been there, I know what it's like to cry yourself to sleep at night because you're so stressed and so overwhelmed. I want to be able to offer support, and I want to be able to explore options with that. And ultimately, I don't want to look back and go, well, I never tried, and I don't want to have regrets with never exploring those options. And the classroom is always there. I don't know if I'm, only going to be out for this 1 year and then go back, or 2 years or 5 years. I have no idea. And ultimately, I feel like, again, this past year has really changed my perspective on just life in general, and realizing that none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. Like, we have no idea what the future holds. And so right now I'm in a place where I feel like I just want to explore those options, and I want to try out different things, and I'm excited for that. And I really hope that you all understand and can sense that excitement, and hopefully you realize how much I'm going to be able to offer to you, because for the past several years I feel like I'm being pulled in all these different directions, because I have people emailing me and messaging me and commenting and asking for help, and I'm like, I'm one person, I can't do all of these different things. And so I'm excited for the availability to help and give that support that I've wanted to give for such a long time. And I've only been doing a small portion of what I feel like I'm capable of. And I'm excited for the ideas that I have that I'm finally going to be able to bring to fruition, and I'm going to be able to present to you all, and I'm going to be able to help you. And I'm excited for that. And I hope that you all are just as equally excited. Okay, so now I feel better getting that out. Literally for the past several weeks in my head, I've just been going over again and again, like, how I wanted to say things. Ultimately, I just know that my true supporters, like you all, will understand. That brings me though to my next question, which is, will you continue to record the podcast with Bridget? Obviously, yes. With all of COVID, we figured out how to record remotely, and we have been recording remotely for over a year now. So we are going to continue doing that. We just use Skype, and we each take out all of our equipment and we record it, and then I put it all together and make it into a podcast. So yes, that is 100% still gonna be happening. And then the final question, what are you most excited for in this move / are you excited for a new chapter? And ultimately, I feel like that's just it. It's that new chapter. It's that almost like fresh start. And I'm just excited to really start to prioritize those little things in life. And I feel like I haven't been doing that over the past few years. I've been so focused. And so for me, this move is that new, fresh opportunity to change my perspective of just life in general and be able to really focus on those little things. I'm also excited because Billy and I are gonna get a dog. We've been talking about getting a dog for years now, but I didn't want to get one until we owned a house, and our new house has a fence. It's perfect, and we're gonna get a dog, so I'm excited about that, obviously. All right, that is it. Hopefully you all got some clarity, you know, you got the answers to your questions. I am gonna be sharing an empty house tour and some moving vlogs, and then once everything gets set up in the house, I will do a full house tour. So I'm excited to share that with you all, and I'm just so grateful for you all being there with me every step of the way and getting to see me kind of grow and change as a person. When I watched my old moving vlog, I was cringing in so many ways, but it's also just the realization that we're constantly changing as people and becoming better and better versions of ourselves. And so I'm excited to see this next journey and adventure unfold and be able to share it with you all. So if you enjoyed this, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you all so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.